I'm Jake Busey from the new Predator film, and you're listening to Cinescape on Toxic Radio.
Welcome to the Cinescape Podcast. We're changing the landscape of movie and TV news and reviews. Happy Saturday, everybody. It is Star Wars week. We are super excited to be broadcasting to you from a galaxy far, far away. Joining me, as always, is Billy Wan Kenobi. How's it going, Billy?
Yeah, I just got in from Yavin. Oh my God, what a trek across the yeah. All right.
What kind of name should Darth Pat?
Obi-Wan Mahoney, bro.
Obi-Wan. that would have been better.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan Mahoney.
You know, you waste the best on Bill, as always.
Bitch.
Jabba the Bill.
Shut the f*** up!
Nerf herder. C3P Bill.
R2 Bill 2.
We'll think of something for the end of the show.
Before we get into today's show is brought to you by Alternate Dimension Toys. Stop in today for the largest collection of toys, collectibles, and Funko Pop figures. Bill, a couple weeks ago, really quick, just to plug Andy and Alternate Dimension Toys, we had the 14th annual or 14th Funko Pop Trading Night?
I believe so.
Over at the Temperance House in Newtown, PA.
Right.
Great time. I traded a couple Star Wars and Game of Thrones pops to bolster my Spider-Man collection.
To a blind kid, right?
Yeah, it was a little,
kid didn't even know what he was trading.
I really took them to the cleaners. He didn't know what he was giving away. But it was a great time. Thanks to everybody that came out. I gave one of our Justice League posters away to a young preteen boy. Yeah, he stopped over, said hello, and he was really the only one who did. So, no creep factor or anything there.
No, okay.
So the way that today's show is going to go, we're going to have TV buzz, we're going to have flipping the script, and then we are going to get into our Star Wars: The Last Jedi spoiler review. So if you have not seen the Star Wars: The Last Jedi film yet, you might want to. Jamie's raising his hand. Our producer Jamie has not seen it. We're going to ruin the entire movie for him. Right? If you have not seen it, prepare to be spoiled if you're still listening when we get to that. With all of that out of the way, Bill, Pat, let's get into this week's
let's get right into
TV buzz. Bill, start us off here.
To no surprise, Netflix's Stranger Things has officially been renewed for a third season.
Bill, what do you think about more Stranger Things?
Yeah, I didn't even finish season 2.
God. It was that good, huh?
Yeah, well, I got it. Yeah, I started it. I just didn't finish it.
Yeah.
That's
usually what happens.
Right, I usually don't finish.
But
hey, I mean, third season of Stranger Things. I mean, awesome. That 11 girl, she's really special, and then
she likes waffles.
And then the sheriff guy. He's he's like a drunk and he doesn't shave and he's driving that pickup truck. And then there's Winona Ryder. I mean, she'd still get it. I mean, I don't know. She's still hanging Christmas lights up in her living room and stuff.
I still love that video for like the VMAs or whatever, where she's like looking all over the place. Like somebody CG'd like pizza slices flying all over the place. Hilarious.
Eat your pizza.
Eat pizza. Pat, what do you think about more Stranger Things on the horizon?
Yeah, why not? I mean, I enjoyed the first two. I think that has a lot of potential to be, like a kind of new age, suspense thriller type horror show with that retro twist. And I think that's really what pulls in a lot of the viewers who enjoy it, is that retro factor. And, I'm looking forward to see what season 3 is. And, I'm not going to spoil it for Bill, because he hasn't seen the end of season 2.
But they all died. So
Oh, okay, cool.
whole new cast for season 3 gonna
Nice.
have to be.
Saves me a lot of time.
Yeah.
No, I mean season 2
No,
was good. It definitely wasn't as good as season 1. I guess that was kind of expected.
So
Just
much like Star Trek: The Next Generation, in many ways it's superior, but will never be as recognized as the original.
It was slow in the beginning, and then it picked up.
Yeah, it really was, and I really didn't care for Eleven's storyline whatsoever. That really bothered me a lot. Hey, kids out there, settle down! Kids running around the studio.
We got to get these kids,
George is getting upset.
we got to get these kids in here. You know what I mean? And we should grill them.
We should
Like, what are you
over
kids
an open
doing?
fire. Or?
No, don't. Jamie's like, no, don't. Do
Yeah,
that.
we don't want them in here. Get out of here, you little
It's like Discovery Zone in here today.
Yeah.
DZ Discovery.
Sportland
Zone.
America.
Sportland. Oh man, I love Sportland. Remember that? Remember
Sour
that?
Sam's.
Remember that Velcro wall?
Oh, yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember when you could climb the aggro crag?
Yeah.
Oh wait.
Yeah, they don't have
There's
places
a
like that
different
for kids anymore because kids are all digital and shit,
Yeah.
and they're just boring.
Dumb kids.
Stupid kids.
thing. Yeah, go outside and play, kids.
Yeah, go play with your iPad outside.
Yeah.
All right, let's continue here. As the Big Bang Theory star Johnny Galecki has been confirmed to reprise his role of David on the upcoming Roseanne revival series. Galecki joins Roseanne Barr, Laurie Metcalf, John Goodman, Michael Fishman, and Lacey Goranson, among others.
Wait, Demogorgon?
No,
what?
not Demogorgon. The series will premiere at 8 p.m. EST on ABC March 27th, 2018.
What's EST?
Eastern Standard
Oh.
Time.
I thought it was like
That is our time.
I thought it was like a telepathic.
So
power.
if depending on the time of season, it could either be 5 p.m. PST or even 4 p.m.
like an
PST.
equinox.
Yes.
Okay.
The vernal equinox of the trajectory of our calculators will find out what the hypotenuse is.
Anyway,
Does
remember when
anybody-
she sang the national anthem and got
Oh my
booed in
God,
like
that was
1987? And she like spit and stuff. And-
She deserved it.
yeah, that was great.
I know. I know the Lethal Doses. Greg Gorey will be excited for this as he is a giant Roseanne fan. But is anybody?
Is he
else?
really?
Oh yeah, he's like the biggest Roseanne fan.
Who? Like, who does that?
I don't know. He does. I
I'm
guess.
all right with Roseanne.
know, it's really not a bad show.
we're all right with it, but like,
I'm not going out of my way to watch.
no one's like
Roseanne.
abundantly like making a fan club out there.
No, it's not like hardcore. You go to Comic-Con dressed as Roseanne.
Yeah,
and
like,
shit.
hey, who are you supposed to
But
be?
it's
I'm
like,
supposed to be Dan Connor from Roseanne. I'm the gay waiter boss that bosses Roseanne around all day. Like,
We should dress up as characters from Roseanne one day.
it's really not that hard. They all were just middle class Americans just wearing
find
like flannel
Find
and
the
shit.
crappiest clothes you have.
And that's
and
Roseanne's
just like walk around.
character.
I'm DJ from Roseanne.
What was the one miserable daughter that was like the poster child for depression?
Darlene.
Becky or
No,
Becky
Darlene.
Darlene.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
there we
Darlene.
go.
Oh, she was absolutely miserable, wasn't she?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
she was like
And
a-
she cameos on Big Bang Theory sometimes.
Yeah, it's
Oh
like
my
you
God.
got like half the cast on that show anymore.
Yeah, and
she was like a-
Laurie Metcalf's on the
Yeah.
show. She's Sheldon's mom.
It's like a shot to the dick, you know what I mean? It's like, ugh.
It'd be funny if it's like an alternate universe of Roseanne, and it's like somehow the space-time continuum like splits in half, and like it's the same characters, but they're on the Big Bang Theory, and then in Roseanne, we're all doing Roseanne or some shit. Something stupid like that. Whatever.
That'd be quite something.
Well, it would be dumb. That's why it'd be funny.
So moving on.
Yeah, move on.
Yeah,
Let's go.
let's
Bill.
just
Go ahead.
get past this part.
You know, this actress, I always forget until I just see her name resurface, and I always think about her.
Yeah, I know what you're thinking about, Bill.
Yeah, I know. I'm
I
thinking about
know.
that scene from Star Trek.
Mhm.
Yeah. Star Trek actress Alice Eve has joined the cast of Marvel's Iron Fist for season 2 in a currently unknown role that will not
Great ass!
that will not save this Marvel Netflix series from being any better.
Yeah.
Oh, eyebrow.
Yeah, maybe she could be playing one of the Daughters of the Dragon along with Colleen Wing. Who knows what she's going to be doing?
Got a wing.
But yeah, we did our Iron Fist season 1 review last year or earlier this year, whenever the hell that came out. It's definitely got room for improvement, if anything.
Yeah.
Anybody else have anything further on this cast?
I just wish
reviews?
they make the fight scenes like they do in Daredevil for Iron Fist. It's got that potential, but then
Right.
there's just no comparison.
Yeah,
But
and they need tits. Gotta have tits.
Gotta have tits.
You know, I mean, when you think back to the 80s, you know, just about every movie had a pair of tits in it. You know, big old set of knockers. Big old...
Don't bullshit me.
Big old set of hoe bags just flopping around in your face.
Big boobs.
You need to bring that back. It just made you spit up.
Oh!
See, this is why we need the booth cam over there.
Yeah.
We only have one more TV story
Thank
for you
God.
guys. We're going to stay in the Netflix version of the MCU as the Jessica Jones Season 2 trailer has dropped. Along with it comes its release date of March 8th, 2018, along with a 13-hour episode season debuting on Netflix next year.
Netflix?
Netflix? That's something different. That's part of Cinescape. Jessica Jones, you know, for myself, it was okay. I didn't think it was anything great. I didn't think it was terrible. You know, it was middle of the road for me. And then, you know, when she appeared in the Defenders... That's very unnecessary, Bill.
I'm sorry, I was just following his lead. I mean, he did it. You guys clapped him up and down.
Well, he wasn't burping in the microphone.
Yeah, but it was a pretty good burp. I thought everyone should hear it.
No.
Oh, okay.
I had to admit it was world class, but it was before the show, so
Yeah.
keep that in mind.
I got a bad feeling about this.
But yeah, anyway, you know, nobody was really good on the Defenders, so it doesn't really matter.
I was okay with Defenders. Jessica Jones stinks, though.
Jessica Jones stinks.
She stinks.
You heard it here first, everybody. Pat Mahoney thinks Jessica Jones stinks. More on this later.
Stinks.
Bill, anything else to add to Jessica Jones stinks?
No, I never even saw it, so I'll take your word for it.
Alrighty then.
Alrighty then.
All right, well, Bill, let's flip the script here and change the focus to the film world.
Absolutely.
Hold on.
Hold on.
We're going to actually... Bill, I want you to skip down on your notes. You have your notes up, Bill?
Yeah, I got my notes up.
Skip down 2 stories.
2.
I want to save those first 2 for actually last. So read that Quentin Tarantino.
Ooh, is this hard R Star Trek?
Well, no.
Quentin Tarantino's currently untitled Charles Manson film has been given an official release date of August 9th, 2019. The release date marks the 50th anniversary of the Manson family murders. Tarantino has his sights set on actors such as Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, Leo DiCaprio, and Margot Robbie to round out the cast of fucking murderers.
Yeah, so this is interesting. It's going to be released on the actual anniversary of, you know, the Sharon Tate murders out in California way back. Yeah, some people might think it's a little distasteful. Yeah, I'm kind of on the fence about that. But yeah, in terms of the movie itself, when you're enlisting this kind of help, you know, Brad Pitt, Leo DiCaprio, Tom Cruise, whoever it may be, yeah, it sounds like a really high caliber cast and should be pretty interesting.
Who do you think
film.
plays Manson in that group of characters if they were
Will
to be
Ferrell.
selected?
Could you imagine him walking around with a swastika on his head, just fucking...
He makes a dramatic departure, becomes like some serious actor now, and I just couldn't do that. I can see Brad Pitt in that role, though.
How about Jeff Goldblum?
Chef, no, for the love of God, no.
I don't know. That's an interesting question to bring up.
I want to kill somebody.
Some dinosaurs.
I can see Pitt from the angle he did in 12 Monkeys. Like, he can kind of transfer that character over to Charles Manson. That's kind of how.
Well, I
see
mean,
it.
if anybody's going to be crazy, it's going to be Tom Cruise.
Yeah, that's true too. Guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting as more comes out about this one. We will keep you guys up to date on all of that. We're going to continue with more Quentin Tarantino here.
Yeah.
Deadline is reporting that Quentin Tarantino recently pitched an idea for a new Star Trek film to J.J. Abrams and Paramount, and it was very well received, as Tarantino will now be directing an R-rated Star Trek film. Bill, I'm going to throw this one right to you.
Yeah. You know, and you know, I have a little theory on the hard R.
Let's hear it.
So hard.
Yeah, by the way, I just ripped and it stinks.
That's nice.
But
Jesus.
I feel like the hard R could stand for hard reset. Because you know what? I feel like most franchises that are getting hard R's are franchises that, either are already in a genre where PG-13 is the norm and stuff like that. And sometimes I feel like hard R movies can kind of allow you to just be outlandish, go off the script a little bit, and really make something that is just going to be a little unknown. And it could be successful, it could start a trend or whatever, but it gives you an opportunity to kind of just throw something at the window a little bit and kind of reset things a little bit. So that's just a little theory on my own. But I like the idea of Quentin Tarantino getting a hold of Star Trek. I heard some of his ideas of what he wants to do. He wants to go back and take some of the original series types episodes and kind of mash it up into a feature length and make it kind of feel like one big episode in a sense, which can be good. I think the big question is just do you have the current cast
any
members?
more gum?
Do you have any more gum? More gum? But would you?
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
Who is your captain? What does he do?
James T.
Kirk. Spock. So I mean, who do you get in this movie? Do you continue with your present cast?
Patrick Stewart said he wants in on it.
I'm fine with that.
Patrick Stewart's the coolest.
Yeah, he really is.
He's this old dude who's hilarious. He's just down to do all types of shit that you wouldn't expect an old man to be doing.
Hey, remember that time I saw him in real life? That was awesome.
So,
interesting
thoughts. I mean, I think it allows them to expand the Star Trek universe a little bit in the sense that you kind of want to see the Star Wars type environment. Well, not so much the action even. It's just how you go to some of these planets and there's these scumbag alien races and the seedy underbelly
sand
people. There is
sand people.
But I mean there's that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I know what you're saying, but I mean, they never seem like they engage them. It's always they're always talking to them or having some kind of oh, we need to find some plant here to cure some idiot we have dying on the Enterprise, and it's well, you don't like the Federation here, and they never engage them in battle or anything.
Yeah.
It's always some kind of exploration. And
and that's why First Contact was one of the best movies because it
it's the only one that I liked.
Yeah, because it has the Borg and they fucking fight.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You need a I think my take on what Quentin Tarantino may do is have Star Trek as the classic good versus evil. You're gonna have an established villain like the Borg or
I think
the
too.
Klingons, and he's gonna bring sex and violence.
Yeah, I mean,
everyone in Star Trek gets banged.
Yeah,
you think of the cast of the Next Generation. Everyone in that cast banged. Data
banged in the third episode.
That's what I'm saying. Except maybe Wesley. He was the only guy that didn't get laid.
No Wesley.
So I don't know. I mean, for me, I think I want to see people's heads getting exploded by phasers. Or, you know what I mean? Just.
And J.J.
really
Abrams kind of did that with the first Trek movie. The first scene,
he
where
had
the
his
ship
limits.
blows
He had his
up.
limits, though.
Yeah, the hole in the ship blows out, and people fly out, and the one person bounces off the thing, slow walking away music from Hulk. But I'm gonna keep going. I think
it's a sad part.
I think one of the coolest things that he could potentially do is just make this a cameo loaded movie, because he does that. He just brings people in from wouldn't it be great if George Clooney was playing Bones or something?
Yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, it's gonna be really interesting to see. I mean, for me, what would sell me on this is just something that you haven't seen before.
Oh.
Yeah, and I mean, bring in some sex, bring in some violence. See Kirk banging a green alien, whatever. It's got to be weird, but it's got to have an edge. And if he wants to bring that edge to it, instead of just telling the same story we've seen so many times,
I mean, they're not. The studios, Paramount's not going to bring on a Quentin Tarantino to make a Star Trek film if it's not going to be a Quentin Tarantino film.
Exactly. You're exactly right.
So
and that's what I hope to see. I want to see a Quentin Tarantino Star Trek, not Quentin Tarantino kind of Star Trek. You know what I mean?
R.
Yeah, I want to see R. Hard R. Start and then do the Mega Man movie Hard R after.
Well, like I said, we will keep you guys updated on any of the happenings with this movie and anything Quentin Tarantino related. Before we get into a couple of other things, we have another topic here. Bill, read this one.
Director Bryan Singer has been...
Oh, no.
Fired? You're fired, bro. Ooh.
You're fired, Sean, for being late on
I
that.
pushed the right button.
Oh,
One.
God. Director Bryan Singer has been fired from the upcoming Bohemian Rhapsody film.
That's going to play like 4 more times out the show.
The news comes a day after news. The news comes a day after news broke that the film's production was to be halted due to Singer's absence from the set. THR has also chronicled a laundry list of unprofessionalism from Singer, which can be found on the Facebook page. Director Dexter Fletcher has been hired to finish the film.
Is he on the list of the guys who are like sexual harassers now?
Oh,
Is
yeah.
that what's going to be?
Oh, yeah.
But isn't he gay?
Well, we'll get into that more in Strange Stories.
I'm not saying that
later.
can't happen where someone can't sexually harass someone, but I mean, it would just be... I mean, it's almost like be out of the norm for something like that in Hollywood to happen, and really sad in a way.
Yeah, definitely.
But
especially with all the set photos we were getting of Rami Malek, as what the hell, Freddie Mercury, looking really cool. So this film is going to be delayed somehow, or somehow, some way. But this Dexter gentleman, hopefully will finish it up right so we can get this out and hear some great Queen tracks here.
Point Dexter.
Anything else to add to that one? We're going to be talking about Bryan Singer a little bit later in the show when we get to our Strange Stories. But for now, we have a pressing topic to speak on here because the other
AIDS?
day...
Is it AIDS?
Yes, I was diagnosed with it. No.
Oh.
The Marvel Cinematic Universe is getting some new roommates here.
Huh.
Did you guys hear about this?
No, tell us.
What's going on?
What's going on?
Well, after initial talks between Disney and 21st Century Fox fizzled out last month, Disney and 21st Century Fox have completed their mega deal, sending film and TV rights to Disney for a reported $52 billion. That is after the $13 billion in debt that Fox was already in.
Jesus.
The deal will send Marvel characters like the X-Men, Fantastic Four, and Deadpool back to Marvel, will give Disney the rights to the original cut of Star Wars A New Hope, rights to all of Fox's film franchise like Avatar, Planet of the Apes, and Alien, and rights to all of Fox's TV programs such as The Simpsons. Disney CEO Bob Iger also confirmed that Deadpool will remain an R-rated property. Disney now holds a 60% stake in Hulu. So
that's huge right there.
This is something absolutely monumental. Huge. Incredible. There's one of Bill's Trump impressions.
We're going to do a counter before the show.
Last night, after really letting all this sink in over the last couple of days, this came out Thursday morning, and it was speculated on over the last week that it was going to happen. I wrote a piece, how they can fit all these characters. I just see you guys moving your eyebrows around. Of how Marvel can put these characters into their universe to make it a seamless transition. You guys can go ahead and read that over on the Cinescape.com. We'll cherry pick off of that a little bit, but first, let me get you guys' impressions of this mega deal. Pat, what do you think about this?
You know what? It's funny because it doesn't seem. To me, it doesn't seem like there's the same amount of excitement as there was when, for example, when Spider-Man's rights came out to Marvel.
Do you think that had to do with Star Wars coming out the same day?
Well, no, I think that it has to do with a lot of fans' expectations are, we can't wait till this happens, but I think there's also a lot of hesitation because it's like, all right, cool, it's great news, like, hey, Marvel, they're back to Marvel now, but it's kind of like a wait and see, like... Well, how are they going to handle it? Like, we're excited, but at the same time, we're hesitant because we've seen this happen before, and it just doesn't seem like anything meets expectations.
I think the tough thing is that, Disney as a company, as a brand, and Disney didn't create these characters.
Exactly. That's why.
So
that's what I mean by
when
the
you
hesitation.
throw them into Disney, like Disney owns these characters now. You have the right to use them how you choose, but people that have grown up and read and lived through these characters and these stories, they know these characters inside out. They know what they would come to expect if they were to see this person on the big screen or on the street, even in the sense. So when you're looking for that translation and you get this Disney-fied type of movie, it comes in at subpar expectations because
that's exactly what I'm saying.
It's Disney's spin on this. It's not
right.
It's not how it was intended in the comics. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
they have a lot on their plate. Like they own a ton right now, and
I think
it's great,
they now own 27% of Hollywood in general.
That's like nuts, and like a lot of it is just massive. Like you got Star Wars, you got all the Marvel stuff now. Like those are two huge franchises, arguably the biggest box office.
Tom Gully in the chat
later.
asks, will the Disney purchase include the upcoming thriller Bill O'Reilly, A New Hope?
Well, what about Parker Lewis Can't Lose since they own Fox?
Tom, we're not sure on that. We will have to fact check. But Bill, let me get your impressions and where you think
my impression
lead. not that kind of impression.
Sorry.
Is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea? Where are you on it?
I mean, it's good business for them. I feel like it sucks in a way because now you have this.
You have Wolverine.
Yeah, hopefully.
But what kind of Wolverine?
Yeah,
like it's kind of like a wait and see.
But
thing,
it's also a dissolution of Hollywood in a sense where it's like now you have this gluttonous autonomous company that is just controlling so much.
I think Disney just bought the Cinescape podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, well that's awesome. We love all of
you.
This just in.
Mickey Mouse comes in and beats
the Cinescape has been sold to Disney for a pack of Skittles and Red Bull.
Mickey, Goofy, Donald walk in and just beat the shit out of us and just take over.
I'm taking over.
This is our show now.
Fuck you, Mickey. You scumbag.
This is our show. Woo.
So obviously, they get the Fantastic Four back. They get Deadpool. They get all the X-Men.
Yeah.
And all these other film properties, they have the Alien franchise, they have the Predator franchise, they have Avatar, they have everything that Fox had going.
Wait, Disney owns
TV.
Predator and shit now?
Yeah, they do.
Fuck.
Rated
So
PG-13.
Disney's whole goal in all of this wasn't just to get all these properties to put into the movie theaters. With the Disney streaming service that's going to be coming out in 2018 and 2019.
Well, now they don't have to worry because they got Hulu to fucking
Disney's goal was to acquire content that they could have on their streaming service, and they just acquired a lot of stuff to put on their streaming service.
That's a great point because they don't necessarily have to make new movies. With
no,
these
they don't.
franchises
They
at
can
all.
just,
they just have
reap the benefits.
Yeah, I mean, when you look in retrospect now, you really don't see this deal being for like the Marvel characters.
Cherry on top.
Exactly. So when you hark back to the fact that Disney was like, we're pulling our content from Netflix. You know what I mean? Like
dicks.
We want subscribership, right? So how do you do that? Well, you go and buy and own 60% of the largest streaming service that's out there, and you deliver your content that way. So I mean, it's a smart move. You need a platform. You can't develop a platform overnight, implement it, and start charging. CBS is trying to do that, and nobody fucking buys that shit
because it's a basic cable channel.
Right.
It's the dumbest thing.
So I mean, Disney, obviously had to pull the trigger here and got something done because, obviously, if Comcast was able to do it,
they had backed out of it early in the week.
Yeah, that makes me question what happens to the stuff at Universal theme parks. You have a Hulk roller coaster, you have a Spider-Man ride, you have like all that stuff that just went in the deal. So are they going to have to go through like?
Well, I think that's all ancillary stuff because even before the deal went through, Disney has Avatar, or World of Pandora or whatever is, and the Fox
Yeah.
own that. So I think those kind
Yeah,
of
I mean,
things
I didn't see the
are
details
separate
of the
licensing
deals, but
rights.
If so, that's cool because that would suck if
But then you
they're
gotta
just
wonder,
like,
like,
we're taking the
how
whole roller
much-
coaster from you. You
Yeah,
can't
like
call
how
it
much
that anymore.
foreshadowing did Disney really have to where, they're making deals with, for a Pandora world, or even with like a big thing that I look at is, especially with like video games and stuff, the licensing is different. Fox owned the X-Men, but they couldn't put out video games for it. And recently, this one Marvel game that I play, they had a full X-Men update, months ago. So, they're not going to put these characters, and they're not even making the comics,
Right?
because they don't want to put that brand out there. But if they're incorporating things like that into their own platforms and own things that they own, way ahead of this deal being announced, like how
nothing.
this has
easy
probably been
anymore.
going on for a really
Yeah.
long time, and we're just hearing about it
It
towards
kind
the
of
end.
sucks because in today's day and age, nothing can be easy. It's all tied to some kind of legality or some kind of contract. And, like,
And
you can
this
do this
this
but you
deal
can't.
still
It's like,
could not go through if the FCC blocks it. There was that big thing with AT&T
Yeah.
and Time Warner. So should everything go through, we're not going to see anything really change. Probably over the next 2 years. We're not going to see a Fantastic Four movie until 2021. I feel like did my mic cut out a little bit? Can anybody hear me?
I hear
can
you
hear you.
great. You sound
It sounds
awesome.
a little. I got a little thing in my ear. Yeah, so
Is it a spider?
Yeah, we're not going to notice any changes really until probably 2-3 years down the line. But I want to focus it back to the Marvel properties that are coming back home. Like I said, Deadpool, all the X-Men, Fantastic Four. So in that piece that I had written last night, I had gone on about how Marvel can put these guys into the MCU, and how are they going to be introduced? How's it going to work? So, Pat, how do you think? Let's start off with Deadpool. How do you think they can put Deadpool in this current MCU?
In the current MCU, well, first, I mean, the great news that you said earlier is that they confirmed that his upcoming sequel is still going to be rated R. The way you put him in the MCU, I guess, that's a tough question. I mean, he's a totally different character. He's like a fourth wall breaker. He's, foul-mouthed. He's very violent. Then again, I see him fitting in there because you have these team-up movies that they do. And they've been doing them, they've been building them, obviously, since 2008, and the Avengers was the one that capped it off. So an easy way to incorporate him is to incorporate him in a team-up movie. Now, I think that the next phase isn't really going to be built towards maybe Avengers team-ups. It's going to be built towards X-Men team-ups and Fantastic Four team-ups. And then they're going to culminate maybe with like a big team-up of whatever the cast of Avengers is at the time with their X-Men and Fantastic Four, and then Deadpool will come in. That's how I think it'll be. Will it be that way? I don't know. But that's how I see it at this point right now, is incorporate him into team-ups and keep him with his base, which would be the X-Men.
Keep him with his people.
Yeah, which would be like the X-Men universe right now, and then just incorporate him in that way. So, that's how I see it. I don't know if it'll go that way, but that seems ideal at this point. But
All right, Bill, how do you think Deadpool gets introduced into the MCU?
hi, I'm Deadpool.
Yeah, hi, I'm. I don't know. I think it would be. I think it would be good in his fourth wall type of sense if you just dropped him in there. Like you don't introduce him; he just pops up in there. Like what's his name? Just drops him off in a taxi cab, and boom, he's like he's right there.
Isn't that his name?
I think that's that's how you do it. Tom Gully in the chat room said he's not excited about a Disney version of Deadpool. So
But keep in mind, it's still going to be rated R like it's been.
hard R.
R,
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Bill, I actually echoed your sentiments in the article that I.
Oh,
last
did you?
night.
Did
I did.
you? Did
I get it. I get it. Yeah, Deadpool being the type of character he is, Pat, like you said, breaking the fourth wall. Yeah, Deadpool knows that he's a comic book character.
Yeah, he doesn't need an intro.
Bo knows.
Yeah, Bo knows baseball. He also knows football. He knows basketball. He knows all these sports.
Bo knows.
And Deadpool also knows that he's a comic book character. So if you just take Deadpool as he is right now and put him in a Captain America movie, whatever it is, it's going to be seamless, and it's probably the easiest one of these characters to introduce into the MCU as the MCU currently stands right now, yeah, definitely the easiest one in my opinion. Let's throw it over to Fantastic Four. Bill, how do you think Fantastic Four gets introduced into the MCU?
Not for a while, and I think, you know, you got this property. People are talking about it right now. There's a lot of buzz circulating. You know, a lot of ancient alien theorists, ancient astronaut theorists out there are wondering, you know, where they came from and what are they doing here. No, but I think, you know, right now everybody's riding high. You know, we got X-Men, we got Fantastic Four, we got it back. But you know what? There's also a slate of movies that are already, you know, planned for the next few years. And so
Kevin Feige said they have 20
I think, you know, right now the idea is there to know that, you know, when Robert Downey Jr. is finally done, you know, Chris Hemsworth's finally done, Chris Evans is finally done. Like, you know, when these guys that started it are finally, like, out of the picture, that's when Fantastic Four, X-Men you're going to start to see more of those characters. And I think right now, too, you know, they want to let this buzz calm down a little bit. You know, great. You know, it's a big win for Marvel, you know, but also there's a lot of stink that has to wear off of, you know, Fantastic Four, you know, obviously, you know, X-Men, you know, I mean, you know, Wolverine, apart from X-Men, you know, went out on top in a sense, but, you know, the whole can he come back and should he, blah blah blah. You know,
the other day Hugh Jackman said he was done. That, you know, the time has passed for that. But, you know,
yeah,
when I had interviewed him earlier this year, you know, he said if it would have been, and it's actually funny. A lot of since this whole thing's been, you know, getting rehashed again. I've noticed a lot of websites quoting the interview that I had with Hugh Jackman, and running with it, and it's pretty funny to watch, actually.
It's a good interview.
Yeah, John Campea, he used to be the host of Collider Movie Talk. He does his own stuff now. He gave us a shout out the other day because he was talking about it. You know, basically what he would say, you know, when I had asked him if, you know, if there were, you know, an opportunity to be in an Avengers movie, would he be excited for it? And he said if the opportunity were on the table, you know, when he was making the decision to step away or keep going, that would have given him pause. And then he said, you know, you never know. You got to think, for somebody who's been the same character for 17 years, and then something like this happening to where he could be fighting the Hulk, he could be running alongside Captain America, you know, even if it's just one time.
Exactly.
That's what I'm
thinking.
I don't care if he's Wolverine for the next 5-10 years. Just give me one. Yeah. I just want to see it one time.
That's exactly.
I want to see him slashing a hole right through the goddamn Captain America shield. I want to see him, you know, kicking Hulk in the nuts or something.
You just want, like, Disney, if you're listening right now, fucking whip out your wallet, get your checkbook, write that man a fucking fat check for fucking 10 minutes of work. I don't care. Like you just said, he just needs to be in the movie in some capacity. You need the claws to come right out of his fucking hands, slash some shit up, you know what I mean? And fucking go to work, Jesus, and then just be done. You know, you want to make fans fucking come in their pants? Put fucking Hugh Jackman in a movie.
Bill is fired up about this.
Woo!
But let's continue with Fantastic Four. Bill, I did, you know, I feel a lot of similar ways that you do, Pat.
You got a hard on too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fucking right.
Pat, what do you think about how Fantastic Four gets introduced?
I mean, I agree with, in part, what Bill's saying. I think that...
You got a hard on too?
No, I don't. I actually
loser.
I don't have a hard because I feel that, you know, what we've seen from the Fantastic Four in the past, I don't know, not 15 years, like, however, since 2005.
Yeah, 2005.
It's been...
They sucked.
It's been crap. And there's been a lot of X-Men disappointments as well. So I think, oh, awesome. This is where that hesitation comes in from the fans. It's like, we've been disappointed before. Now that's going back to Marvel. And I actually think Marvel's starting to lose a little bit of its luster with some fans. I mean, they win the hype game all the time, but then...
Not financially.
Yeah, I mean... The hype, like, everyone's always hyped up for the next film, but then, like, when, you know, something like Thor Ragnarok, for example, comes out, it's really polarizing and divisive. And I think that a lot of the fans of those movies, like X-Men fans especially, they don't want to see the joke men. You know, they want to see the X-Men. They don't want to see them joking around, quipping with each other, and doing all that crap. And same goes with the Fantastic
And you know
Four.
what? To pause real quick, I think it's the fact that I don't mind some jokes and stuff like that.
Right, yeah.
But it's
I'm not
it's
totally
the fact
against it.
that they do it now at the most climatic points of the movies.
Exactly.
You know, it's like when shit is about to hit the fan, and it's like, all right, like here's the third act of the movie. Here's where it's gonna get climatic, and shit's gonna get rough. Like, and they have to deal with stuff, and it's just like. And then it becomes a joke. It becomes a farce.
They can never take themselves really
and they diminish
seriously.
these characters too.
Yeah,
these villains.
I've been saying it for years.
Like, you know what? You were, in the text board the other day, you were saying, "Oh, Doctor Doom. Finally, we got a villain with staying power."
That's what I hope.
Ideally,
yes,
ideally, you have a villain with staying power, unless Disney decides to make a fucking joke out of him.
Yeah, unless they make him a spinning mustache. Which is, of course, and spinning mustaches get trimmed. I'm actually quoting that from a review I saw the other day of Star Wars.
See, you know what they
we'll
need
get
to
into
do
that later.
And if they do right by Doctor
spinning
Doom,
mustache is a joke.
I think what they need to do, and when you talk about staying power, they need a villain that can travel across the
ocean.
The ocean. I mean, obviously they did a great job with Thanos, and the build up and stuff like that. But
right, but to stop you right there, it's been a lot of build up.
I think you need a
now
villain.
it's finally coming to a head. Does he have that staying power? Or is he just around for Infinity
Right.
War,
I mean,
he's definitely one that's going to have to be an ever present force in the the new slate of films.
He is, but will he be? I guess we'll have to find out.
We'll see.
But Doctor Doom, he should be like a 1A to Thanos.
You still got the Power Ranger music? The Bulk and Skull music?
Bulk and Skull, I do.
Yeah, I want to hear that music.
You're gonna hear it.
Can you play it? Can you play it when we read this next one?
Well, we're not done.
Oh,
hold your horses.
well, we got 20 minutes left.
Yeah,
we got
got
the
45.
Red Rocks podcast coming in.
You tell the Red Rockets crew to hold on.
What's their name, Jamie?
Red Band Underground.
Red 5 coming in.
Red Band over
Red
here.
Fox.
Red Fox coming
Fox
in.
standing by.
Red October standing by.
Yeah, I'm not done, so they're gonna have to shut up.
Simply Red standing by.
Fantastic Four, another easy one to put into the current MCU. Spider-Man: Homecoming. The Avengers Tower is getting sold off. Who's it going to?
Fantastic Four.
Maybe they sold it to Norman Osborn. Maybe it's going to be Oscorp. Maybe they sold it to Reed Richards. It's going to be the new Baxter
Maybe
building.
it's Enron.
Maybe.
Madoff!
And then in the the piece that I had written last night, in terms of when in what time period are you introducing them? Is it in the past? Is it in current time? If you're going to do it in the past, maybe it could be how they're doing Captain Marvel. She's going to be in the 90s, and then she's not popping back up until current time. You could do the same thing there. You have their space flight. They get their powers. They get trapped in the negative zone. And then they finally come out 20 years later.
That would make sense.
Very easy. X-Men. Let's get into X-Men. How do the X-Men get introduced, Pat?
I think this is probably the easiest one you can do.
Easiest one, you say?
Yeah, now that you can use the word mutant, right? You can always put like, you know what? They were always in this universe, but they were always
Well,
hiding.
I mean, you got Wanda and I mean, you got Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. I mean,
exactly.
But they're not mutants.
Well, they can be
They're
now.
powered people.
Right, but now
now you can use the term.
But now
where
you're going to have.
say, you guys are mutants.
But then you're going to have two different Quicksilvers.
No.
Well, you can just leave them out, unfortunately.
You just leave them out.
Yeah, you don't have to bring
That's
them.
the thing. Those movies aren't part of the MCU.
But if you're bringing the current X-Men into
I'm
this
just
universe.
saying. I'm talking about an iteration of the X-Men. Like you can bring them in easily. Not saying the exact cast of.
That's what I'm talking about. I mean, it doesn't have to be.
Okay, if you did it that way, then you could probably still kind of do it the same way. But I don't think they would. I think they would recast everything.
Yeah.
That would be the smart thing to do. Like you said, you can't have two.
Yeah, you can't have two
Quicksilvers unless they throw like an excuse out there and use one of the gems. Like the time gem or the reality gem.
That's something that I put
to,
in my my piece last night.
That's a way, but I think it would become too convoluted for general audiences. They really want to keep it easy because they're afraid to go there.
Right.
So I think that the X-Men is probably the easiest thing you can bring in. You can say, oh, here are these powered people. who've been around.
They've
but
already
we
been
haven't,
there, yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
we haven't
see-
made ourselves known, and now we see you all making yourselves known, and we're here to help. Or we're, you know what I mean? Like, you can do it that way, but
I'm gonna
I'm not paid to do
completely disagree with you. I think the X-Men are the hardest ones to bring in because you have characters like Wolverine who's over 100 years old. You have Magneto that's been around since World War II. You have Apocalypse that's been around since ancient Egyptian times. Why has nobody ever heard of these kinds of
Who are
beings?
these people?
Exactly. Nobody's
they're
ever heard
hyped.
of them. He hasn't been around. They haven't been mentioned. There's Inhumans in this universe. There's powered people in this universe, but there have been no mutants. So just bringing them up, out of nowhere, it's not going to make any sense. There would be two Quicksilvers. There's going to be too much of.
well, I mean, you don't have to have
unless, like you said, unless
right?
unless, and this I wrote this as well. Unless you're going to have Thanos warp reality, or have a mention of a parallel universe where they cross over or something like that. That's the only logical way that the current slate of X-Men could be a part of the MCU as we know it.
Well, I mean, one of the points I want to make with that is that when you're comparing the X-Men to other Avengers, like the X-Men, it's almost like they take the easy way out with their origins because they're born with their powers already. They don't have to have an origin of, Captain America was an experiment. Iron Man created his suit. Hulk was an experiment. Black Widow, I mean, she's not really a superhero. She's like a special agent. Where the X-Men, they're already born with it, so they're already out there. You know what I mean? That's what I mean. Like,
but then why haven't we gotten a mention of them?
Because they can be in the shadows. They're I mean, look at the current X-Men film. They're always hiding. They're always so afraid.
If you don't
to
do
be-
that, I mean,
they're not embracing their powers.
the other easy way is just time travel, because I mean,
yeah, that's a way.
Yeah, some kind of a reality changing.
yeah,
event.
I mean, most of the X-Men storylines were time travel, parallel universe type stuff. So maybe it could just come by circumstance where it's like maybe they just end up in this reality due to time travel or a parallel universe type thing, and then it's just, hey, they're here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's a possibility, but
yeah,
I just think you can introduce them seamlessly by making themselves known. I mean, they don't have to be, hey, we're the X-Men. We've been here the whole time.
So they should come out of the closet.
pretty much.
Yes,
You're saying
come out of the superhero
You're saying the
power
X-Men
closet.
should come out of the closet.
Yeah, I'm just my thought process is that the whole thing of the X-Men is that their story has been one of basically a human rights issue. So we didn't have any of that kind of stuff until the Sokovia Accords came about. If there's this big of an uproar about mutants, you would have heard about that 15 years into the
Yeah, but I mean,
into
for
the whole
cinematic
thing.
purposes, they don't have to dive that deep. They can just start
think
making that an issue in the universe.
Yeah, I think after Infinity War, they're gonna have to reboot the franchise, the entire
they
universe
definitely will. I think.
as it stands right now. Which segues to our final topic here. MCU head honcho Kevin Feige spoke to Vanity Fair recently about the future of the film franchise in a post-Avengers world, and this actually came out before the Fox Disney deal, saying that the film brings things you've never seen in superhero films, a finale. Feige also goes on to state that there will be two distinct periods, everything before Avengers 4 and everything after. I know it will not be in ways people are expecting. So this came out 2-3 weeks ago. Before this deal, so a lot of foreshadowing there. So you had to think that they knew this deal was going to come to fruition. Kevin Feige saying himself, things are not going to be what you expect after Avengers 4 ends. Could the universe be rebooted? Could Thanos rip a hole in reality to where all these other characters are able to cross over? Are they going to recast everything and make everything new again? We're going to have to wait and see over the next couple years. But it in terms of getting these properties back from Fox, I'm very excited. I mean, like you said,
it's
half of
big.
the X-Men movies are good, half of them are not.
Right.
All the Fantastic Four movies have sucked. You got to think Marvel's going to do a better job with them than Fox has.
You would think.
Deadpool's going to remain an R-rated character, so
Which
I'm
is
not
good.
worried about that at all.
That's probably the best news out of all that, to be honest with you.
Definitely. Anything else to add to that before we...
Just hope they do it right, that's all.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully it's better than Thor
Can we
Ragnarok.
rip Last Jedi now?
All right. Well, that does it for our Flipping the Script segment. We are now going to break the hearts of fanboys and girls everywhere as we get into our Star Wars The Last Jedi spoiler review.
You want to just leave
Jamie
the
is
room?
sitting here very anxious looking. So we got a chance to see this film this past Thursday night at the premiere there.
At
not
the,
not
Majestic.
the Dolby. We were at the Chinese theater in Los Angeles.
Cineplex.
2 years in the making after The Force Awakens. Expectations were very high. We were very excited. I had Star Wars music blasting in my car on the ride to the theater.
Nerd.
We had a Star. At least I had my Star Wars shirt on. I don't know about you, dummies.
I was gonna wear my holiday sweater with the ad.
Nobody brought a
I
lightsaber.
didn't want to. Well, that's obtrusive. Like that guy we saw at the bar afterwards in a full stormtrooper.
Yeah, the one guy was a stormtrooper and one was an X-wing pilot.
He went to the bathroom. He seriously didn't come back for 25 minutes because he probably did take half that crap off that he was wearing just to go to the bathroom. That must have been the most uncomfortable thing.
Worth it.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, we saw the movie. The movie's been out for a couple days now, so hopefully if you are listening right now, you've gotten a chance to see it or don't mind being spoiled. But let's get right into it. I want to break this review into... I want to first talk about each of the characters and how you felt about them and their arcs, and then about some of the different plot points. So let's start off with our main original trilogy characters, Bill, Luke Skywalker. What did you think about Luke?
I didn't like all the like flip flopping that he was doing. You know what I mean? And there was a lot of that in this film where I thought his character was like this. I just didn't like he was like this old man that just had given up. You know what I mean? He's like, yeah, like, and then Yoda like reinforcing that for him, like in that one scene.
Luke, I am your father.
But I mean, yeah, I just didn't like that aspect. I thought, his character, even though as absent as he has been throughout the years, I just thought he had, some more prominence, some, more, pomp due to him, and they didn't give him that.
Yeah, he's definitely a character, like you said, had and he even states in the movie that he had gone to Ahch-To to die. He sealed himself off from the Force. Nobody knew where he was. They had to find that map.
They made him a big pussy.
Whoa! Oh,
I mean,
durka.
I mean, and everybody in this movie just about was some bitch ass pussy that, like, the way that they got killed, their attitude and shit. Everybody was a bitch.
Son of a bitch must pay.
Yeah, seriously.
Pat, Luke Skywalker.
Well,
bitch.
I mean, you know me. I mean, I might as well just give you my whole thought on it because this kind of spans from that, and I wrote it down. So, what I thought about The Last Jedi as a whole, and this ties into the characters, is that I wrote this down so I didn't want to forget.
Okay.
Right. How much time?
It's not a bad movie,
7 minutes.
right? It's a bad,
37 minutes.
Jesus Christ.
37 minutes.
It's a bad story, and it's a completely missed opportunity for a majority of the characters that really doesn't leave you excited to see what happens next because it's a bad story with underwhelming characters. Is it a bad movie? No. But the story direction and what you're talking about now with the character direction of Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill himself went on to say he didn't agree with
Ryan Johnson.
on how
he did.
And then he went to say, "Oh, but I do now." But you know
that's
what?
corporate.
Exactly.
They're telling him, "You're making a paycheck. You shut up."
To the line.
He's genuinely. Mark Hamill. He is Luke Skywalker. I mean, if there's anyone that knows what the character should be, it's him. It's the guy who portrayed him.
And
for
that's
40
and that's
years.
two major characters that have been killed off in such a lame way.
Spoiler alert.
I mean, and like the way that he went out.
Sorry, Jamie.
It's like
Sure
he
you
had
are.
a heart attack using the Force or something. And like, come on, you're gonna do. And then like what Bill was saying, it's like, wow, you don't really see like. What he was like from Return of the Jedi. Like his character starts to not make sense when he just like you know, in episode 8, it's like, well, I shut my mind off from the Force because my nephew might be bad.
Hold on, Bill.
You know,
I want to praise you a little bit. You had a couple really good points. You know, after
and he stayed awake.
Yeah, he did. He stayed awake. You also had a couple of really good points about Luke in general. The first one is that you were pissed off about his introduction into this movie.
Yeah.
So at the end of The Force Awakens, Rey goes to Ahch-To, finds Luke, hands him the lightsaber, and then the movie ends. So the first scene that we get to see Luke and Rey there.
Continuation.
It's the exact continuation of that scene. He takes it from her, and then he just chucks it away.
Just chucks it.
And he's done with it.
And it's like that's supposed to be humorous, like in the sense that, like, I guess it's humorous in the sense to his character now, where he's just like this old man that just doesn't care. But it was like, I thought that was such a rip, like, on the fans and stuff
that
like
we've been waiting for
like,
2 years.
You've been waiting for
exactly
2
right.
years for that scene to pick up and, like, leave you off, like, you know, feeling like, yeah, Star Wars is fucking back. Luke Skywalker's gonna, like, like, fucking shred dudes and shit. And he just,
See, like, right there, what you just proved my point. It's great that you did, because it's like, I just said, like, this one, at the end of this, it doesn't leave you excited or because in all honesty, at the end of this movie, what is there to speculate?
no,
You don't know what, like, there's not, like, I can't even be excited for the progression of Rey or Finn, or, you know, they don't get me excited and wanting to talk about it. Maybe Kylo Ren does, which to me was the best part of the movie, but, like, even that, am I going to speculate for 2 years, like, what he's going to do next?
You don't know, like,
right? I mean, where you said, like,
talk about a flip flopper.
And the thing with Kylo Ren is what did they say about Sith? They deal in absolute.
Yeah.
And he did not. You wanted
Right.
to see him be the absolute dark side evil.
weird
Well,
because
throughout the
he's
movie,
not-
he's
he's
not a Sith.
Yeah.
And he
No,
said he
but-
wants to get rid of the past, kill the past.
Yeah,
he
but-
doesn't want any parts of that.
That was a whole foreshadow on what they're doing with the whole franchise, unfortunately. Like
yeah.
you said,
Everything
like,
that
the
you know
beginning-
is going out the
The
window.
beginning, it's like, you know, that's just their agenda. We reeled everyone in with their legendary characters and nostalgia, and we want to get the original fans in, and you know what?
We're gonna kick you in the
We're
ass.
going to do what we want to do now. We want to push our agenda, which is fine, but at the same time, you're not making the new characters interesting at all.
I want to get into the
at
new
all.
characters, the newer characters. But Bill, there was one more thing that you had said after the movie that I had a chance to think about after a little while, and that I agree with. So, sorry, Jamie, again. So Luke Skywalker dies at the end of the film, apparently.
No.
He
fades away.
has him, Rey, and Kylo all have this new force power that we've never seen before, where you can pretty much astral project yourself into another location.
Yeah.
The first time you saw Rey and Kylo do it throughout the movie, like, you didn't know what was going on right away, and they kept doing it throughout, and then they were interacting with their environment. Like, you saw Kylo's hands get wet when he was talking to Rey from when she was at that waterfall on Ahch-To. So you knew that they could physically interact with the environment that they were in without actually being there, which is pretty cool. I just wish we got more of an explanation of what that actually was. Kylo kind of did it throughout the movie each time. He's like, can you see my surroundings? I can't see yours, meaning that Rey's probably more powerful than he is, even though they're almost at the same level. But at the end, Luke astral project himself onto Crate. They try to blow him up, and he's still there, and then him and Kylo go at it. You never see any lightsaber battle. You never see any physical contact.
They had
made.
a Matrix fight.
You see Luke duck under the saber.
They did.
Another thing that I didn't pick up on right away, but with that planet, there was like the salty surface and the red goo underneath it.
Right?
So Kylo, you can see him moving around and kicking up dust and stuff, but Luke never does it.
Here's an interesting part. I don't mean to stop you there. So, I mean, you just mentioned like the physicality of his force. Was him when he went there? Did him and Leia hug? Like, did they physically touch? I think
you would think they have to.
I think they did, right? In that scene, I can't remember.
They did. Yeah, they hugged.
So-
but was he wasn't actually there.
But he was able to touch her physically. Now, I have a quick theory
because
on that.
Yoda did it as a Force ghost.
Right.
So, spoiler: Yoda's in this movie too.
Plus, he also gave her the
dice.
the little trinket.
The Han Solo dice.
Yeah.
So, weird theory. I don't mean to throw this whole thing in a curveball. So Luke was able to touch Leia. They're blood, right? Kylo and Rey were able to touch. Could they be blood? I mean, I know they destroyed her parentage in this movie too. Like, oh, you're a nobody.
Yeah.
I think they might throw that curveball. Oh, you're actually a Skywalker. They never told you.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I
Like-
think if you went in that direction in this movie, you can't go back from that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see it, but I mean, that's just
And
a
that's what
small
you
theory.
were waiting to hear about pretty much the whole
Yeah,
time.
that's the only thing I can speculate about this movie is that they touched, and he wasn't doing footprints, but he was touching Leia, and Kylo and Rey were touching, but they weren't touching anything else. You know what I mean? But I don't know.
So then, finishing off Bill's thing that he had said, Kylo, he says the thing to Kylo where, basically what Obi-Wan said in New Hope, if you strike me down, I'll become more powerful than you'll ever know. Luke says something, if you kill me, I'm going to follow you.
I'll see you around, bud.
Yeah,
and
Force goes hard.
he slices through him, but he doesn't die. He's still standing there because he wasn't actually there. So if we're going off the premise of you can still physically interact with whatever environment you're in doing this, Bill, you had said that maybe that saber slash actually was the thing that killed him. When they show him back on Octo meditating, and then he disappears and falls over. Possibly. Maybe it was it didn't kill him right away because he wasn't physically there, but it residually went back to him, and that
it has like an effect
it's
on his
either that or
life force or something.
he just became one with the Force and vanished. It's either one of those things. But I found that very interesting.
Yeah, and looking back at this movie, I think the upsetting part is that I said this the other night too is that I was really hoping for more of that Jedi Star Wars mythology to come out through this movie, and a lot of the things that we are seeking explanations for are things that could have been done better in the movie and could have gone deeper with I
want you to hold that point because I'm going to get back to that because I totally 100% agree. I just want to talk about some of the other characters really quick. We had Leia, obviously Carrie Fisher gone. She has left us.
Very sad.
What did you guys think about her in this movie? I personally thought, she had an extremely prominent role.
Yeah,
to where, and that space battle when the ship blows up and the deck of the ship blows up, Admiral Akbar dies, Jamie, and then you thought.
Which
Leia,
is just another afterthought.
They all die.
You thought Leia was dead too. She's floating around in space.
She Mary Poppins.
And then she
Mary Poppins her ass back.
Like legit uses the Force, gets herself back on the bridge of the ship, and comes back, and she's there the entirety of the movie.
That's another thing, real quick. I think she had one of the best, most prominent roles in the movie. It's going to be tough to see how her character progresses into the next film. With
you got to hope they at least have some kind of footage that they can use of her to give her a proper send off.
But that one scene that you had just mentioned, that's another thing that kind of want to know more about. Like, okay, we haven't seen this side of her, in the last movie and, throughout
before.
Yeah, ever before. So how did she develop that? And how did she become so powerful that she can, breathe in space and Mary Poppins her ass back to a ship?
I take that as them kind of really just getting rid of a lot of mythology with the Force. Like, they saw her do that. And then at the end of the movie, you're like, well, who's teaching Rey now? Because she didn't really get taught.
To teach herself.
She didn't get taught anything in this.
No. Luke said he's going to give her 3 lessons, and he really didn't teach
he's
her
like,
shit.
all right, reach out with your feelings, is really all he said to her. But it's like, I mean, now it's like she's just up to her to learn the Force. But I think they're like leaving it like, well, the Force is what it is, and no one has to get taught it. Because then you see the kid at the end with the broom and all that shit. So
they're going to spark the rebellion. And
it's
get more
weird.
But,
I mean, I just don't agree with the story decisions.
All right. The final thing that Bill you just touched on was the lack of Jedi mythology. This movie had a lot of moving parts to it.
Yeah.
With the different rebellion stuff going on, the space battle there. The ship's running out of fuel, and then you had Rey and Luke's thing, and then Rey and Kylo's thing. Snoke gets chopped in half, Jamie.
But like that was like another bitch ass, move.
Yeah, like you build him up in the first movie, and then he is barely in this movie, and then
Like,
he goes
yeah,
out.
Like, yeah, and that was the thing, like all through the lead up, like, oh, Snoke is this character, he's
maybe he was somebody else that you didn't know about before. Like,
he's humanoid looking, but he's not from
Completely
Earth.
wasted.
So like, there was this whole like,
is he an Inquisitor? Is he somebody like?
And I thought his death was cool.
It's funny when his head flies over.
But I mean, it was just like a bitch ass way to go, in the movie. And real quickly, just to summarize for our fans out there, the other characters. I mean, Finn's character, didn't even really need to like happen. He was
Finn was
there.
one of the worst parts of the movie.
And yeah, and they introduce him with this other character Rose, who they just kind of like team up and
Another
they're just doing
waste.
like side shit.
They're-
You know what was a bigger waste? Benicio del Toro.
The biggest waste.
Biggest waste.
That whole sequence, the
timeline.
Canto Bite sequence with
Yeah,
Ray,
going to the
Finn,
casino and shit.
or Finn Rose, and that DJ is his name,
Yeah.
but they never say.
Very underwhelming.
That took
part.
20 minutes out of the movie, where, back to Bill's point about the Jedi mythology, that you could have spent talking about the journals of the wills that they showed,
Right.
or talking about these new astral projection powers, or Kylo's downfall, and explain it more with the burning of the Jedi Temple. And they didn't mention the Knights of Ren one time.
That's
not
probably
once.
that's probably one of the most infuriating
Not
things.
once did they mention the
Like,
Knights of Ren.
This, like, I know you heard stories over the years, like the Force Awakens in this movie went through a lot of drastic changes, and it seems like, in all honesty, what this movie seems like, it's like a reboot already of the new trilogy. Like, a lot of stuff that was established in the Force Awakens was either disregarded in this film or just not even talked about. And it's interesting when you look at the director now, 3, it's J.J. Abrams again.
Yeah,
Who
and it
after-
wasn't supposed to be.
Exactly. Who, after he made The Force Awakens, he's like, I can't wait till it's over. He's like, it's one of the best things in my life, but it's so stressful,
And-
I can't do it again.
and this
it's almost like
movie-
he's coming back to maybe reclaim
Yes.
what he laid, and now it's
Yeah.
like completely
I think
wiped.
that's important.
You know what I mean?
Because this movie feels so removed from the Star Wars universe.
It was It was probably the most different Star Wars.
Yeah.
movie
It's
that
the
we-
most polarizing
And that-
Star
you know,
Wars movie
that-
of all time.
That's okay.
It's okay.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But I think when you look at the investment of the fans, and when you want to give future fans something to talk about, I felt like there was so much in the trailer that we're like, oh, you know what, that that might be the Gray Order of the Jedi, which means this, and then oh, this, did you see the red crystals? That's probably where the kyber crystals are. That and all that shit turned out to be false.
Nothing.
And that's the part that it.
And they're on crate. Where are the crate
It
dragons?
didn't
at?
give you. It didn't give you any of that mythology, that mythos, that lore of the entire franchise that keeps you talking. No, it's
Yeah.
just
It's a missed opportunity.
Now it's just
Yeah.
we'll see when the next Star Wars movie comes out.
Like I said, it's a big missed opportunity for the
Does-
sake of pushing a new generation. But
exactly.
now you're 2 movies into a new generation where your main characters are not interesting in the slightest bit.
And when you're holding yourself to a trilogy for each thing, it's tough because now you're block scheduled out.
Yeah.
Like if you threw trilogies out the window, you'd be able to take this as a hiccup and say, okay, 9 and 10, we're going to make that up. You know what I
Right.
mean? But and I mean they could do that. I would have no problem.
Right.
Like, I don't need trilogies.
Or
Just
are
make
10,
fucking
11, and
movies.
12 going to continue Ray and Finn and all that?
Well,
Like, who knows? Like-
Daisy Ridley said she's done after 9. So.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that, but then again, I could see that as like the agent move, like, oh, just say you're done, so you get all like Chris Evans did that. All the
Yeah.
Avengers guys.
I think the
good
good thing. I think if you had it my way, I mean, I would just like to see Finn and Poe just be like a junker team up.
In all honesty, Poe is probably the most interesting character of the
Yeah.
new guys. I mean, he's the only one who I see that's got some interest, and the only one that
and he had conflict in that movie. You know what I mean? He was a guy that he
He's
was
fighting the power.
he was a trusted person next to Leia.
Leia's definitely grooming him for a leadership.
Yeah.
Right.
position.
I mean, they didn't always agree.
Which she should be.
They didn't always agree, but instinctually, she would go with her gut when it needed to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he had a moment of power conflict with.
Well, that's because
What's her
he
name?
was
Vice
the male
Admiral Holdo.
of the group. They had the rational women
I'm
had
a
to
man.
shut down the irrational male.
Elaine Bennett.
And if they would have just told him the friggin' plan, then Finn wouldn't have went on his dumb mission and
it's a
blew it
need-to-know
anyway.
basis.
You know
And then
who
they
else
got
is a
all these
man?
other people killed because they didn't even tell him his plan.
All right. Well,
Stupid
we
lard
we
diner.
could go on probably for another 2 hours.
But you know what? We should say, as we wrap up, if you didn't see Star Wars, make sure you stay for the post-credit scene. Okay. There's no mid-credit scene, just a post-credit scene. So make sure you stay for that because that's going to set up something that you might know. So post-credit scene.
It's a Star Trek crossover.
Yeah.
No,
The Enterprise shows up.
don't stay. There's
nothing
What
going
the
on.
fuck do you guys You ruined a great joke.
You don't want to piss off your viewers, man.
There's only 2 of them watching.
Well, right now. There's downloads and stuff.
Two
later, you know what I
people
mean?
could have been sitting in the theater like an asshole, and I would have been happy.
Like that Bill Tubbs
And
really got
See,
us
that's
this
more
time.
time they could have been at home listening to our show if they're not sitting there
Exactly.
waiting.
Whatever.
Dummy.
All right.
Listen to the podcast on iTunes. All right?
Yeah, listen to the podcast on iTunes.
Subscribe.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to end our show for tonight, but make sure you check us out on iTunes. Our video versions of our shows are up on YouTube. Find us on all social media, Facebook, send us at the Cinescape.
Send us nudes.
Yeah, send us nudes on Instagram and Twitter. And we're even on Stitcher. You can find us on there as well.
Yeah, Stitcher.
Yeah, 2 weeks from now, our last show of 2017 is going to be an all trivia matchup. It's going to be me versus Michael Reyes from Cinema Blend. We're going to have a tag team matchup, and we're either going to have a triple threat match or even a fatal 5-way match, depending on who we can.
Sounds like a
get
lot
the
of
book.
dicks are going to be swinging. in
Absolutely, lots of swinging
here. Oh
around.
God, Jamie, you gonna be swinging? 9-pound hammer? That's what I heard they call you.
I don't know about that one.
All right, maybe a toothpick. Okay.
Let's go with the other one.
Okay.
Well, that is going to do it for us. For a more in-depth review of Star Wars, go over and check out the review at thecinescape.com. The review's up on there as well. Happy Saturday. Have a good rest of your weekend, guys. For myself, Sean
Happy
Harrigan.
holidays.
Happy holidays. Yes, happy holidays. It
Happy
is,
holidays.
Christmas next week, Hanukkah right now. Happy holidays. For myself, Sean Harrigan. For Bill Tazzi. For Pat Mahoney.
Hi.
Have a good one.
See you later.